Hey, curious minds, welcome to the Robert and Crew Show, where nothing's off limits and everything's up for debate. I'm Robert, here with Crew and the awesome Julie, and let me tell you, Season 6 is our wildest ride yet. You like conspiracies? We've got 'em. From secret societies with handshake deals and shadowy rooms, to wild theories about weather control and UFOs zipping across the skies, I promise there's no rabbit hole too deep for us to dive into. Ever wondered if your neighbor's a lizard person? Or if the lights in the sky are just weather balloons, or something a little more out of this world? Yeah, we talk about that. But it's not just mysteries and mayhem. We're also obsessed with history's weirdest moments, global news stories that never make the front page, and even the pop culture that shaped us. Batman debates, Assassin's Creed lore, classic horror films that made us sleep with the lights on, all fair game. And the best part? Our show isn't just us talking. We bring in special guests, listener questions, and wild interviews that might just blow your mind. Whether you're tuning in on Facebook, Twitch, or right here on YouTube, you're in for a mix of shock, laughs, and those, wait, seriously, moments. So if your brain loves a good mystery, join us every week. Hit subscribe, drop your weirdest questions, and let's unravel the world together, one wild episode at a time. This is the Robert and Crew Show. See you on the other side.
Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm your podcast host, Robert.
And I'm your podcast co-host, Crew.
And I'm your co-host, Julie.
And tonight, we're going to be diving into the nasty little world of political alleged rumors and scandals. Some of them recent, some of them not so recent. So tonight is going to be a little weird, a little crazy. There's going to be no allegations made. This is all alleged. We have no proof of any of this, nor are we going to even claim that we do. Tonight is a fun rabbit hole episode just to make you think.
I've been wanting to do this for a while, everyone. Tonight's my episode. And I'm going to pinpoint alleged corruption in the government.
Unless we have absolute proof, then it's not alleged. But
right.
Alleged scandals for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, just like Clinton with that lady.
Oh, with Monica Lewinsky.
Well.
I did not have sexual relations.
Okay.
So. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have the information pulled up.
Okay there, Crew. You get started.
Okay, give me one moment because I got to scroll all the way up.
Man. You got this.
Here we go.
Hey,
all right, so we got types of government corruption. We got types of government corruption. Corruption isn't just one thing. It takes many shapes, often tied to the systems and opportunities in a given government. Here's a breakdown of common forms with examples to illustrate. We got bribery. Public officials taking money or favors to influence decisions.
Really?
Example, in 2023, U.S. Senator Robert Menendez.
Yes, I know about this. I know about this.
Was charged with accepting bribes, including cash and gold bars, to use his influence for foreign governments and businessmen. This case involved allegations of him aiding Egypt and Qatar in exchange for personal benefits.
Yeah, like money laundering, basically. He was aiding them with things that they needed, and they were giving him cash assets. Supposedly. Yeah. I think it's proven, isn't it? I think that's proven.
Yeah. Then we got historical case, the Credit Mullabler scandal, 1870s. In the U.S. saw Union Pacific Railroad executives bribing congressmen with discounted stock to secure favorable legislation for railroad expansion.
Yeah, to constantly build out the railroad. It was another money laundering scheme. It was basically we can build the railroad really, really nice, but we can keep asking for money and the money will keep getting printed and we can basically build a really nice railroad and get paid really good.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And some people even argue that the railroad that was built by Union Pacific was garbage and that
Yeah.
most of the money was laundered.
Yeah.
So, but that's like proven, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
pretty
that's
sure
proven.
these cases are proven that you're talking about right now.
Yeah. I'm talking about proven ones real quick.
Yeah.
Then we got embezzlement, stealing public funds, personal use. Example, in Nigeria, between 1960 and 1999, leaders reportedly siphoned off over 400 billion from the national treasury, often stashing it in foreign accounts like Swiss banks instead of investing it domestically.
Yeah, so that people can't track it. Another money laundering scheme.
Here's a recent case. In 2023, a Connecticut state representative pleaded guilty to stealing $1.2 million in COVID-19 relief funds,
Oh,
highlighting
jeez.
how even emergency funds can be misappreciated.
Wow.
That is stupid and very
That's
dumb.
crazy. He
Yeah,
stole 1.4 million or
1.2 million.
1.2.
Wow.
1.2, it's still a lot of money. 1.2
Yeah.
million dollars was stolen from a COVID relief fund.
Yep.
Did he go to jail? If
Doesn't
that
say.
name didn't go to
It
jail,
doesn't say.
here,
It
what
does
was his
not say.
name? What was his name?
It just says a Connecticut state representative pleaded guilty.
All right, a Connecticut state representative.
Yeah.
Okay, just give me 1 sec. I'm going to look this up real quick.
Okay.
I'm doing it right now. Don't start else yet.
All right.
What was the name? What was the name of the Connecticut representative that stole COVID relief money? And what happened to him? Is he in prison?
The Connecticut representative who stole COVID relief money was Michael DeMassa. He pleaded guilty to wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and theft of government funds, receiving a sentence of 2 years and 3 months in prison in April 2023. He is likely still serving his sentence, as federal prison terms typically include at least 85% of the time before parole eligibility.
Good. I'm glad he's behind bars because a lot of the times those people get away with it.
Yes. We've seen so many people get away with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Next one on the list is nepotism and cronyism, favoring family or friends for jobs or contracts.
Oh yeah.
Example, in Bihar, India, over 80% of subsidized food aid for the poor was stolen by corrupt officials, often redirected to cronies or sold for profit, undermining food security.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going on.
Me neither.
I mean,
Neither
that
have I.
makes sense, but man, that's rough. So the poor people are just getting screwed out there.
Yeah. And then we have a historical case, the Albany Regency, 1820s through 1840s. In the U.S., granted bank charters to political allies in exchange for financial and electrical support. A classic case of cronyism.
Mr. George, I got my tinfoil hat on. Hell yeah. How are you doing?
That's funny. Okay. Now we got influence peddling and
Oh, yeah, I like
campaign
that.
financial abuse.
Oh, financial abuse. No
Mm.
politician's ever done that before.
Trading political favors
Let's
for
do it, bro.
donations or support. Example, the Citizens United versus FEC ruling. as in FEC, all caps. 2010 in the U.S. allowed unlimited corporate and individual donations to super PACs, leading to cases like a 150,000 donation to a super PAC supporting Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker.
More fucking money laundering.
Followed by his backing of $250 million in public funds for a Milwaukee Bucks arena.
Yeah, dude, that screams dirty money. That screams money laundering.
Yep.
And yeah, bro, it's true, Mr. Zersh. It's all true, and it definitely is fucked.
For sure.
Global case. Ooh. In Peru, under President Alberto Fujimori, 1990s, a bribery and embezzlement scheme involving death squads and public funds led to his eventual conviction. Kleptocurrency.
Kleptocurrency. So
When
you steal people's Bitcoin or whatever?
It's this: when entire governments are structured to enrich leaders.
Oh, okay. So it's just the government stealing money from the poor people and the rich people alike.
Yeah.
They're just taking money from everybody.
Here's the example: Myanmar's jade trade saw corrupt military officials and drug lords extract $31 billion in 2014 alone.
So they stole $31 billion in 2014 alone.
Not million, billion.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. $24 billion.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Wow.
And they got away with it.
It says equivalent to half the country's GDP, with little benefit to locals and massive environmental damage.
For sure, because there's no money going anywhere else but in their pockets at that point. So they're screwing over the entire population that they have out there. That's not very cool. I mean, that's how people don't understand. That's how governments literally, like, they take over completely, and the poor people have no say, and they can't go anywhere. And that's when people end up dying on the streets.
Yeah.
It's bad. That's when nobody's getting any food. The rich people are the only ones that can eat. The rich people are the only ones that have anything.
Now, here's the historical case on this.
In that kind of government, at least.
The Gilded Age in the U.S., late 19th century, was rife with kleptocratic practices like the whiskey ring, where tax officials and distillers colluded to defraud the government of millions in revenue.
Yeah, so wasn't that ran by George Washington himself?
No, this was
or was that
19. This is the 19th century.
Okay, so who was that one ran by? Because you said the Whiskey Renegades?
No, it's the whiskey ring.
The whiskey what?
The whiskey ring, like the whiskey ring. So the Gilded Age in the U.S., late 19th century.
Who ran the whiskey ring in the 19th century?
The whiskey ring was a scandal in the 1870s, involving a conspiracy among government officials, distillers, and distributors to siphon off millions in federal whiskey taxes. It was primarily orchestrated by John McDonald, a St. Louis-based...
John McDonald in St. Louis. Please finish.
Okay.
John McDonald, based in St. Louis, led the whiskey ring, working with distillers, revenue agents, and treasury officials to skim whiskey taxes. They bribed officials and falsified records, pocketing millions. The scheme unraveled in 1875 when Secretary George Henry Williams exposed it, leading to McDonald's conviction.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got judicial corruption. Judges or prosecutors acted in bad faith, often for bribes or political motives. Example: Operation Greylord. In the 1980s, exposed widespread corruption in Chicago's Cook County courts, where judges took bribes to fix cases undermining justice.
Yeah. So
Mm.
like here, take this money so you can keep this innocent person behind bars, basically.
Mhm.
Or here,
Uh,
take this money so you guys can throw out this case. Or
yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
here, take this money so this never happened.
Mhm.
Yeah, just bribery in general.
Yeah. We got
This
a
isn't
global.
a,
Go ahead, Julie.
I was going to say, this isn't about money, but recently a senator, I think in Florida, got caught with whatever you call that,
Yeah,
for a minor, and he's facing jail time.
Mm. Well, good. One less bad person off the streets.
Exactly.
yeah.
Um,
The funny one for me was the dude was the he was some like either a senator or somebody, but he got caught in his car smoking crack.
Yes. That one's funny too.
I'm like, what? Like that's a scandal to have. Like you get caught by the police in a parking lot, passed out with a crack pipe in your mouth.
Yup. All right, we got global case for the judicial corruption. In Guatemala, judicial corruption allowed impunity for high-level officials until international pressure led to reforms in the 2010s. State capture: when private entities influence laws or policies like their benefit or for their benefit. Example: the Azerbaijani laundromat 2010s involved a 2.9 billion money laundering scheme to influence European politicians buying favorable policies for Azerbaijan's regime.
So once again, money laundering.
Yep.
That's all they do. They just launder all the money. They just want. They're like Mr. Freaking Krabs, right?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Money, 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 money. I need money.
Then
Yeah.
we got a U.S. case. The 2015 SEC fines against major banks like Citi and J.P. Morgan for
Yep.
rigging foreign exchange markets show how corporate influence can distort public trust, even if not directly tied to the government officials. Now, why corruption happens? Corruption thrives.
I wonder why.
Corruption thrives where oversight is weak, power is concentrated, or incentives are misaligned. Some key drivers: lack of transparency. When government actions like spending or contract awards aren't open to scrutiny, corruption festers. For instance, the lack of oversight during COVID-19 relief distribution in the U.S. enabled fraud.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we just talked about how that they what stole 1.2 million from a COVID relief fund.
Um, it was 1.2 million.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just, it's like taking from the poor to make them richer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a reverse Robin Hood.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Now and then right here,
We'll steal from the poor and make the rich richer.
weak institutions in countries where limited checks and balances, like authoritarian regiments, corruption can become systematic. The U.S. Department of State notes that authoritarian governments often weaponize corruption to maintain power.
Oh yeah, I mean blackmail. Look at blackmail.
Yeah.
That's your weaponization of power to keep the way you're doing things going the same way.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody's shaking in their boots right now about this whole Jeffrey Epstein crap. Look at how this blackmail turned everything upside down. And now apparently he's done nothing. He didn't blackmail anybody. There's no list, and you're dumb and weak if you believe there is.
Yeah.
The president literally said it. He said, "You're dumb and weak if you believe the Jeffrey Epstein hoax." What the heck was that about?
Yeah. I think they're just trying to hide and cover up what they
Bro,
know.
they're all sketchy. They're all
Yeah.
sketchy. Like
Well,
Donald Trump may be like a good businessman and possibly a good leader, but he's not a good guy, I don't think. Like I think
well,
there's some things that aren't being talked about. And
I'm
I
going to bring up some Epstein stuff here in a while, but I'm going to finish some more of this stuff up real quick.
Schmepstein, you're bringing up Schmepstein?
Yeah.
You're bringing up the
Yeah.
Schmepster?
Yes.
He
Um.
didn't kill himself in prison. I don't believe that. Nope, the
Well.
Schmepster
I
didn't
don't
die in
either.
prison.
Well. Before I get to the or
Humphrey
that, I'm going to
Schmepster.
finish a lot of this up real quick. Economic incentives, high stakes projects, e.g., infrastructure or resource extraction, attract bribes because the payoffs are huge. In Nigeria, oil wealth fueled rent extraction, with funds moved overseas rather than invested locally. Cultural factors. In some places, practices like gift giving or patronized or normalized, blurring ethical lines. For example, until 1999, German companies could claim bribes paid abroad as tax
What?
deductible, useful expenditures.
What? They were taking tax cuts off of money that they were doing what with?
Okay, so I'll reword this. For example, until 1999, German companies could claim bribes paid abroad as tax deduction
What?
useful expenditures.
Oh my god, that is so dirty. It's like that's so dirty. That's disgusting. Here, we'll pay off or accept a bribe, and then we're gonna write it off on our tax. What?
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Now, now I'm gonna
I
go
know
ahead and
that's not
go.
legal.
I'm gonna go into the impacts of corruption. Corruption isn't just a moral failing; it has real-world consequences. Economic damage. It distorts markets, diverts investment into less productive areas like bribe heavy projects, and reduces public services. The World Bank notes corruption disproportionately harms the poor by raising costs and limiting access to services. Erosion of trust. High level corruption or apex corruption undermines faith in democracy. A Stanford study found that scandals like Brazil's Operation Car Wash reduce voter turnout and trust in institutions. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Security risks. Corruption fuels organized crime and instability. The FBI highlights how public corruption enables drug trafficking, human smuggling, and even terrorism by weakening borders and institutions, environmental and social harm. Myanmar's Jade scandal caused environmental devastation and armed conflict, showing how corruption can exacerbate or exacerbate. I can't say the word.
Exonerate.
Thank you. Border crisis or broader crisis. Notable U.S. examples. Since you might be particularly invested in the U.S., here are standout cases. Tammany Hall, 19th century, the New York political machine, led by figures like Boss Tweed, siphoned millions from public funds through inflated contracts and voter fraud, including a registering dead people and dogs to vote.
Yep,
Yeah,
that happened.
I've heard about that. That's
Yeah.
true.
Because it's always a joke, right? When the next election happens, is your dead dog going to vote this year?
Yeah.
Right.
Is
And
grandma
then
who
they
died
had,
7 years ago going to vote this year?
remember back when they were talking about the election fraud
Yeah.
where they're on, I think, Trump's first term, where there was mail trucks going through graveyards. And so there was always that joke about the, oh, that was crazy.
Next
Right.
one on this list
Right.
is Watergate, 1972.
We've got something, crew.
What?
It's popped up on the screen.
Of course.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
You know what keeps me going out here? A cold Dr. Pepper and a great podcast like the Robert and Crew Show.
And then,
Always love to hear from Bigfoot.
and then real quickly, we have to put this up on screen. And crew, you tell the people what they're looking at.
Okay, so this is the Robert and Crew Show merch. We got anything and everything you can think of, over 200 and something items. With
We have some new shirts that dropped.
Yep, some new shirts from certain episodes we've done this season. Arts Around the World. One of our favorite episodes that we did this season. And we're dropping the season 7 logo on our merch, which is, of course, Bigfoot for our cryptid series that we're going to be doing next season.
Yeah.
And our current logo, which you can see on the top right. And we got many different merch that you with our logo.
The new season 7 logo.
Yep.
And then this is Art Throughout the Ages logo. This one is an Art Throughout the Ages logo. And then this is the new Robert and Crew Show logo for it's just the one for like ancient Egypt and mysteries. So I thought that was kind of cool. And
that is pretty cool.
Then we have the original Robert and Crew Show logo and the alien from season 3.
Yeah. And we're going to try to get this implemented for some merch. We're going to get what Rob we were talking about earlier today about the Crewinator.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make a shirt with Crew on it, and it's gonna have half of his face is gonna be the T800, and the other half of him is gonna be him, and it's gonna say the Crewinator at the bottom of the shirt, and then at the back of it, we're gonna hopefully get it to say the Robert and Crew Show on the back of the shirt.
Cool.
But anyways, back to what I was reading. Okay, who remembers Watergate from 1972?
I wasn't alive, but I remember it.
But I heard about it. Yeah.
Okay, a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters led to a massive scandal revealing wiretapping, campaign finance violations, and abuse of power, culminating in President Nixon's resignation. I can't say the word.
Resignation.
Thank you. Abscam, 1980. An FBI sting operation caught U.S. congressmen accepting bribes from undercover agents posing as Arab sheiks, exposing corruption in Congress.
Of course, because it's all about the money.
Ooh, here's the recent cases. 2024 through 2025, the FBI reported cases like a former Trop County payroll manager embezzling $500,000 and Rikers Island correction officers pleading guilty to corruption charges, showing ongoing issues at local and state levels. Then we got global context. Corruption isn't unique
No,
to
it's
any
everywhere.
one county or country. Transparency International 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index ranks the U.S. 28th out of 180 countries, with a score of 65 out of 100. Lower scores indicate more corruption. Denmark tops the list as the least corrupt, while Somali ranks last. Globally, cases like Brazil's Operation Car Wash or Turkey's Gas for Gold scheme show how corruption can involve entire systems, not just individuals.
What happened in Brazil?
Operation Car Wash.
Okay, I'm looking that up real quick.
Okay.
'Cause that sounds absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of?
What?
The Fast and Furious
Okay.
and all the corruption in part 5.
What was Operation Car Wash in Brazil?
Operation Car Wash, or Lava Jato, was a massive corruption investigation in Brazil that started in 2014 and shook the country's political and business elite to its core. It uncovered a sprawling kickback scheme centered around Petrobras, the state oil company. Companies paid billions in bribes to secure contracts, funneling money to politicians and officials across multiple administrations. Led by federal judge Sergio Moro and a team of prosecutors, used plea bargains and wiretaps to expose a web of corruption involving top figures like former presidents Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Dilma Rousseff. Though Lula's convictions were later annulled, it recovered over $5 billion in stolen assets and led to hundreds of arrests, including executives and politicians. The operation reshaped Brazilian politics, fueling public outrage and contributing to Rousseff's impeachment in 2016. But it wasn't without flaws. Critics argued Moro and the prosecutors overstepped, showing bias against certain political groups, especially Lula's Workers' Party. By 2021, the operation wound down after Brazil's Supreme Court ruled some of Moro's actions unconstitutional, like leaking private conversations. It was a landmark in fighting corruption, but left a divided legacy. Some see it as a triumph of justice, others as a politicized witch hunt that damaged trust in institutions. It's a messy chapter, but it sure exposed how deep corruption can run.
That's insane.
That is.
So I'm going to go ahead and skip most of this because that's way too much to read, and I don't want to read all of that because it's a big list of a lot.
I want you to get to the juicy stuff.
Okay, I'm going there right now. Posts on X are blowing up about Trump, man. Some say he took $50 million in bribes from Russian donors. Others point to his real estate deals and crypto donations as straight up kleptocracy. There's chatter about a House Oversight report claiming he pocketed $7.8 million from foreign governments, while an official cozying up to places like Saudi Arabia. They call it a brothel at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The guy's been dodging corruption allegations forever. Bankruptcies, sketchy Dutch bank loans, even that $400 million jet, supposedly from Arab connections. His defenders scream it's all lies, but the patterns keep piling up.
Okay. Is that all you got for me?
Hold on, I'm getting there. All right.
Because we all know
Posts on
that
X are wild about that. Some claim over 4,000 transactions linked to Trump ran through Russian banks, supposedly $50 million in bribes to influence him. People point to his cozy ties with Russian oligarchs.
Oligarchs.
Yeah, thank you. Like those Dutch bank loans when no U.S. bank would touch him. Others say it's all smoke, no fire. FBI looked into it in 2020, couldn't pin anything solid. But you
Yeah.
don't get that much chatter without something fishy, right? The deep state's either covering for him or framing him, depends on who you ask.
Well, yeah, that's nothing new. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the same old stuff that they always say about Trump.
Yeah, kind
Yeah.
of
That's
like
nothing new.
Then it gets deeper. Oh, now, here's the breakdown on the bank transactions. Posts on X say over 4,000 shady money transfers linked to Trump flowed through Russian banks like Alpha Bank, which some claimed had a direct line to Trump Tower servers. When he was drowning in $4 billion of debt, no U.S. bank would touch him. So Russian cash allegedly bailed him out. The FBI sniffed around in 2020, but couldn't nail it down. Neither are either they're in on the cover up or it's too murky to prove. Now, the Russians players, you've got oligarchs like Dmitry Bolovov,
Yeah,
who
Dmitry Levolov.
Yeah, who bought Trump's Palm Beach mansion for a wide 59.5 million in 2008. Way over market value, smells like money laundering. Others whisper about mob ties like David Bogatin, who snapped up Trump Tower units in the 80s, supposedly funneling dirty cash. It's a web of shell companies and all cash deals. Over a fifth of Trump's condo sales fit that sketchy pattern since 2006. The
Like
narrative split.
his real
Either
estate
he's
businesses.
what?
His real estate businesses, like his
Yeah.
real estate dealings were sketchy.
Yeah,
I feel like everybody's real estate, like if you're in real estate, you probably have dealt with some sketchy salespeople.
yeah.
yeah.
So the narrative split. Either he's a Russian pawn or it's all exaggerated by his enemies. What piece of this rabbit hole you want to chase next? Specific names or the money trail? And then and then this is where I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to get more deep into Trump. I want to focus more on the Clintons because we
Oh,
brought up the Clintons for a little bit.
oh,
Posts on X are going wild about the Clintons, especially their ties to the who?
to Humphrey Schmepstein.
Yep. Thank you. Some claim Bill was on the island more times than a frequent flyer. Allegations of
Yeah, he had those Schmepstein bucks.
yeah. Well, here it goes. The CT. I'm not going to say the actual word.
Yeah,
And we're swirling around. They point to Hillary's Arkansas body count, like those 87 mystery deaths tied to their Arkansas days,
oh,
and her deleting 30,000 emails to dodge scrutiny. There's a chatter about their foundation being a front for arms deals, diluting aid meds in Africa, and pocketing Haiti relief funds. Chelsea supposedly got 12 million of it, but others on X swear it's all bunk, saying the Smeshstein files cleared them, and it's just right-wing noise to smear them. The truth? It's a swamp of accusations. Some stink of truth, others sound like tinfoil hat fever dreams. Want to dive deeper into the one angle, like emails or Smeshstein stuff? So I was like, let's double down. All right, I want to know both. So Grok was like, let's double down on both the emails and the Schmetstein stuff. Posts on X are buzzing with conspiracy about the Clintons. On the emails,
Humphrey Schmepstein.
Hillary's 2016 scandal and is a gold mine for skeptics. she deleted 33,000 emails from my private server, supposedly about yoga
Crew,
and Chelsea's wedding.
Crew,
Yeah.
didn't you know there were no emails, just like there's no list?
Yeah.
Okay, there were never any emails. That's all bullshit. Hillary Clinton didn't do anything. She's just a wonderful human being. 87 people that died have nothing to do with that family.
Yeah.
Well,
And now, allegedly today, I heard allegedly that Obama was behind the Russian hoax
well,
thing.
hold on. Before we get into that, Julie, I want to finish this part real quick.
Yeah, he's got to finish talking about the Clintons.
Yeah. But the deep dive says it's about hiding pay-to-play deals. The FBI recovered some, and ex-users scream they show Clinton Foundation donors, like foreign governments, getting State Department favors. WikiLeaks dropped a bunch, hinting at arms deals and influence peddling, but defenders say it's just sloppy tech, not corruption. The CIA, per X-Chatter, even caught wind of her campaign allegedly cooking up the Trump/Russia hoax to deflect from this mess. No hard proof of smoking gun crimes, but it's sketchy as hell. Why delete that much if it's just yoga? Now, Schmechstein posts on X paint Bill as a regular on the Lolita Express, with some saying he hit Schmechstein's Island 17 times, no Secret Service in tow. Virginia Giuffre's docs name Hillary too, suggesting their foundation bankrolled Maxwell.
Ghislaine.
Yeah, Ghislaine. Schmechstein allegedly seeded the Clinton Global Initiative post-conviction, which
I think if there's no list, we should let Ghislaine Maxwell out, right?
Right.
She's been kept behind bars for she didn't do anything wrong. How can you traffic people to Schmepstein when Schmepstein had no clients?
Right. Which smells like a front for trafficking or hush money. Denials are loud. Bill's team says it was all legit philanthropy, and Hillary's camp calls it a smear. But X isn't buying it. They point to flight logs, Thailand trips, and Schmechstein's cozy post-prison ties to the Clintons. No convictions yet, but the optics are rotten. Which angles grabs you more? The email paper trail or the Epstein web or Schmechstein web, or want to zoom in on a specific name tied to...
You can say his name. You won't go to jail for it. Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein. Yeah. Epstein didn't kill himself. Epstein didn't kill himself. Guess what, guys? Epstein did not motherfucking kill himself. You cannot convince me anything else. Donald Trump released the files now.
Oh, okay. Hold up. I'm gonna. I just saw this. Okay. Why are certain files not being released by the corrupt government? It's often because they claim national security or ongoing investigations, but sometimes it's just to hide incompetence or wrongdoing without specifics. It's hard to say.
Remember those JFK files they released that we were supposed to get all this new information, and it turned out that it was just a bunch of old information that meant absolutely nothing.
Right. So, yeah. Okay, so it says, without specifics, it's hard to say. Any particular files you're thinking of? Oh, those are the big ones. Post on X suggests the MLK files might be released soon, possibly next week, with some already sent to his family, though they're worried about FBI records spreading misinformation. For 9/11 files, there's less chatter, but governments often withhold them, citing national security or to avoid exposing sensitive operations or mistakes. For the 9/11 files, recent posts on X say some are being released in batches, like stuff from FBI investigations to make things more transparent. But the government often holds back
I don't think we're gonna get them. I don't think we're gonna get
involving
them.
people like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, citing national security or ongoing legal battles like the plea deals that got scraped last week, stalling things again. Want me to check out or any new developments on specific 9/11 files? For the 9/11 files, posts on X and other sources say some documents are trickling out, like the FBI records on investigations to shed light on things. But big chunks, especially tied to figures like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed or Saudi connections, and still held back, often blamed on national security, ongoing trails, or avoiding diplomatic messes. Some ex posts claim cover ups like FBI mishandling evidence or even for foreknowledge, but those are unproven theories. Recent news mentions plea deals for 9/11 detains being concealed, which keeps more files locked up. So that's everything I have.
Well, I almost want the 9/11 files more than the Epstein files, to be quite honest. Humphrey
Yeah.
Schmepstein doesn't really interest me very much anymore because I know that we're not going to get the files. You can cry all day for those files. I don't think they're going to ever release them unless
Yeah, or
something.
the MLK.
No,
If they-
okay, so they're talking about the MLK files will be released sometime next week. Some have already been released to the family.
I wonder what they even say though. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing is like, are they going to tell us anything we don't already know? Because like, there's already been things released about MLK that people don't want to hear, or they don't want to claim it. But you know, he wasn't. He did some weird things. He went to some weird parties.
Yeah.
So I mean, corruption is literally everywhere.
Oh
The,
yeah.
It
the problem is the governments, they're not going to release that shit, because if you see the corruption and you can blame the corruption on certain people, you end up becoming or you end up threatening a certain threshold of people, like either they're politicians, actors, or whoever, you know, like the stuff that just happened with P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Right.
All of that, like he got off basically. He's getting charged with bullshit while the big charges he beat. And then you have the Schmepstein files that are being completely withheld from the public. And, you know, it's not like the administration ran on releasing said files. It's not like Pam Bondi literally said, I have the files on my desk, tens of thousands of hours of video. Some of the video involves minors. It's not like that literally was said. Like,
Well, that's why I said TC
right.
instead of the actual two words, because here's the thing. I don't want certain words to be. I'm not going to say
I'm
certain
not
words.
saying it. I'm saying that Pam Bondi, that's what she said, legitimately.
Right.
And then she wants to come back and say, oh, I was talking about, I have tens of thousands of video footage hours from all of these different files and case logs. And everybody's calling her a liar now and saying, no, you were talking about Jeffrey Schmepstein and all of those files. And then, like I said earlier, Trump came out and said that the Jeffrey Epstein files was a hoax, and that if you believe anything about Jeffrey Epstein, that you're weak and stupid, basically. He basically called his entire MAGA base stupid. Like,
Yeah.
anybody that voted for Trump just got called stupid, because a lot of people voted for him to release the Epstein files.
Can you look up real quick and see if you can show the video of Trump being heard backstage via mic.
I've heard about that recently, but
He forgot to
not
turn
much.
his mic off, and he was overheard. He
Yeah,
was caught on camera being heard. I don't remember who he was talking to, but he was talking to somebody backstage.
yeah, I've heard about that, but I don't recall what I was said or anything.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Howard, thank you again. Thank you again. Won't forget. So good. Yeah, it's good. So, thank you again. Thank you again. Won't forget. So good. Yeah, it's good.
That's not it.
Appreciate it. Howard, thank you again. Thank you again. Won't forget.
That was not it.
That's not it.
He's actually seen backstage talking to somebody, and you can overhear. He did not turn his mic off. And he was saying some very hateful things, too.
Is this a new clip or an old clip?
Should be a new clip.
I don't see anything.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And you'll probably have to play it on your phone. Give me a moment.
No, if you have the link, I shouldn't. Well, no, the only thing I see recent is Trump saying that stuff about his supporters. And then Trump denied. Oh, here. I am going to play this real quick. So, guys, this just happened too. And people, this is hot right now all over X and all over like the media and all over TikTok. I mean, this story is hot. It just came out today. And apparently Donald Trump is suing over it. So, this is what I'm talking about here.
Well, tonight, President Trump denying that he wrote a letter to Jeffrey Epstein more than 2 decades ago that reportedly included an online and of a naked woman and a Donald Trump signature. This all comes on the heels of pressure from some politicians from both sides of the aisle for Trump to release Epstein's files. Our Robert Kovacic joining us live with the very latest tonight. Robert.
Kathy, tonight, President Trump taking to social media and, as you see here, posting on Truth Social, threatening legal action against the Wall Street Journal, its parent company, News Corp, and Rupert Murdoch, the organization's head, calling the letter a fake and saying they will be sued if they publish the story. Dow Jones, the publisher of the Wall Street Journal, declining to comment on the president's post regarding the article, which was published tonight. The Journal did not publish the actual letter, only reporting excerpts they said it reviewed. Tonight, the Wall Street Journal reporting President Trump was among dozens of associates who wrote Jeffrey Epstein in 2003 to mark his 50th birthday. According to documents reviewed by the Journal, Trump's letter featured several lines of typewritten text framed by what appeared to be a hand-drawn outline of a naked woman and a Donald signature. According to the Journal, the letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." NBC News has not independently verified or seen the letter. In a phone interview with the Journal, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. The president told the newspaper, quote, "I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women. It's not my language. It's not my words." The Wall Street Journal is reporting, according to people familiar with the letter, it was among documents reviewed by Department of Justice officials who investigated Jeffrey Epstein and his then confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, years ago. It is unclear whether these documents are part of the Trump administration's recent review of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Tonight on social media, Vice President Vance questioning the letter the Journal claims Trump wrote. Where is this letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump? And also tonight, President Trump is now directing his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to unseal the grand jury transcripts related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. In a Truth Social post, the president writing, quote, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by the Democrats should end right now, end quote. Attorney General Pam Bondi says she's ready to move the court date up to tomorrow in order to unseal those transcripts. I'm Robert Kovacic. Kathy?
Robert.
I sent you the video, bro, via TikTok. So you'll help play it via your phone so we can all hear it.
What's the video? Okay, just give me a second.
So apparently there's a court date because of all this stuff.
Yeah, apparently. Man, crew, what you doing this for? Making me do all this extra work on stream like I'm a slave or something.
I'm sorry, brother, but this one caught my attention the other day.
Good old Humphrey Schmepstein.
Mr. Kim, here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I would
with
have him. Yeah, I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone think anything different. Right. He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Well, are we?
What's so bad about that, though?
He's basically telling us that we have to do the same.
The same of what, though? Like what?
Stand up attention for whoever this person is.
Here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I would
with
have him. Yeah, I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone think anything different. Right. He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Well, are we?
He's basically saying we need to do the same for him, since people do it for that one guy or whatever.
I think he's taught so. I think that can be taken in multiple ways. So I think he's saying, I think they want you to believe he's saying that he's meaning the entirety of the American people. But I think what he's talking about is the people in the government with him. Because he said, when I speak, I want my people to stand at attention. I mean, you can take that as he's telling that to the American government or to the American people. But I think he's actually saying that to the people who work around him. I could be wrong, but I mean, that's what makes the most sense to me.
Well, did you see what his hand did?
Are you talking about how he's trying to hide the bruising or what?
No. What did you see what his hand did when he was talking? When you don't see his face, you just see his back.
Mr. Kim, here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I would
with
have him. Yeah, I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, He's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Don't let anyone think anything different.
Right.
He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Well, are we?
What, are you going to try to say he Nazi saluted?
It looked
That didn't
kind
look
of
like
like it.
He did this.
Yeah, he was putting his
Not a
hands
Nazi
up.
salute.
Well, it kind of looked like he was doing that. I'm like,
Do
kind
you
of
know
looks like
how
it, but
they
you
used
can't
to,
tell.
do you know how kids used to do the Pledge of Allegiance at school?
Same way.
Do you know how they used to salute the flag?
Same way.
Yeah. So the only reason why that's a bad thing now is because it's directly related to the Nazi Party.
Yeah, I know.
In all reality, that's how everybody used to salute.
I know.
So why do we get so upset about it? And I also know that there's been way more people than just Elon Musk and Donald Trump who've been caught in that position. I can pull up a picture right now, and I'm going to just because I think it's hilarious. Of this young lady doing it.
I don't recall saluting the flag, but we always had our hand over our heart.
Okay, so here you go. This is what I want to show you. Don't cry when you see this, crew.
I'm not
What's she doing?
doing the same thing.
Oh, is that Kamala Harris doing a Nazi salute?
Yup.
I mean, come on now. I can type it in and find it for anybody. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, come on. And then, of course, we also have and you also have Elon over here. Was that a
Yeah.
Nazi salute?
Yep.
What about right here?
Oh Lord.
What's this?
Oh Lord. It gets deeper. The rabbit hole gets deeper with them doing it.
I can show you so many. Look at this. What's this?
Wow.
I mean, come on now. Come on now.
It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe they're actually Nazi saluting, man. I think they're just using hand gestures. I think we look into that way too deep.
I know. It's a
Probably
rabbit hole
so.
within a rabbit hole. People
Yeah.
just want to make it more
Big
difficult
rabbit
than
holes,
it
and we
already
gotta
is.
put our tin hats on.
Yeah, you got to have that tinfoil hat on tight, Julie.
Yeah, you do.
So how about George Bush, man? You didn't talk about George Bush at all, besides 9/11.
I mean, I don't want to get deep in George W.
What about
Bush.
George Bush's daddy? You didn't talk about him either.
I don't want to get deep into him either.
I think you're just afraid to.
Oh, those are the two people I do not like getting deep in because I will go off the rails about those two.
Oh my goodness. There's so many rabbit holes we can go through.
That's why I don't want to go over them.
And then what about Abraham Lincoln? And people
don't get me
say
started
he's
on him. Don't get me started on Abraham Lincoln.
and people say he's a black man. And it never dawned on me that he was. But people used to play that off.
So he's that's with an E. Ebony? Ebony or whatever you call it. Skinned. You're light skinned, you're pale.
Albino?
Albino. Thank you.
Albino.
Yeah.
Is Crew
Allegedly.
albino?
No, allegedly.
He really must be.
Abraham
From
Lincoln.
Nibiru.
Bro, hold on. Allegedly, Abraham Lincoln was albino.
He was also allegedly a giant.
He's also allegedly a leader in the
Gay?
Tartarian Empire.
Yeah. And gay.
Yep. And he has there's a wax figure at Disney World with him saying something. I forgot the saying now. Oh, thinking of Disney is 70 years old today.
Who's 70 years old today?
Disney World.
Oh, I thought you were saying that Crew just turned 70.
No, Disney World turned 70 years old today.
Crew, I'm so sorry.
I'm the clone. The original Crew is 70 years old.
Yeah. You know, that's what Crew likes to say. He likes to talk about that, about how he's the real Crew. But no, he's not the real Crew anymore. He's the clone from Nibiru. He's Nibiru.
I
Crew.
just said I was the clone.
I know you did, Nibiru Crew.
Quarters of a company that manages $10.6 trillion. That's more than half the United States GDP. Last time, I covered the shady consulting group McKinsey, and you guys asked for one thing. BlackRock. So here we are. BlackRock is the subject of a lot of speculation online.
There is a robot that controls more wealth than any country on earth.
Really, the commander-in-chief is Larry Fink.
They have stock in 95% of Fortune 500 companies, and they've been hired by governments across the world to help manage financial crises and even just conduct normal operations. That means that pretty much any time you interact with the economy, working, buying stuff, driving a car, going to the bank, anything, you're interacting with BlackRock. But that $10.6 trillion isn't really their money. Don't worry, we'll come back to that. And they claim they're just passive investors, which seems harmless, right? While I love a good conspiracy, and I know there was a cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo, how much of a conspiracy is this really? I wanted to get to the truth behind BlackRock and the other nearly identical asset managers, State Street and Vanguard, known as the Big Three. Are they actively controlling the world and shaping it in their favor? Or are they passive investors just riding the wave of American economic expansion?
Not a chance.
Stay with me. We'll get to the spooky stuff soon, but first let's talk through some finance basics that give BlackRock their power. What an asset manager actually does, the main product they provide, index funds, their favorite loophole, passivity, and their position in our economy, the not at all terrifying sounding universal ownership. BlackRock is an asset manager, and the service they offer is taking a customer's money and making more money out of it. Their existence relies upon an important invention of the 70s.
This one, I bet it's only $119.
More exciting, the index fund. It was pioneered by the first CEO of Vanguard, and it offers investors to invest in many stocks at once. So instead of betting a lot on a few individual companies, you bet a little bit on every company in the whole index, basically just the whole market itself.
The index at least steers a steady course.
It's like instead of betting on a single horse, you're betting on all the horses at once. And index funds are a form of mutual fund, the more general way people pool their money together to make big investments. But someone needs to be the one to pool all that money together and manage it, and that's an asset manager, i.e. BlackRock. Index funds and ETFs are their main products, and they're pretty similar. They're popular because they're lower risk, have more consistent returns, and are cheaper for asset managers because they don't have to pay a guy to place bets all day, which studies show they are not very good at.
Just ignore the folly of short-term speculation. It's absolutely a loser's game.
So if the market is up 7% today, so is your index fund. Instead of constantly buying and selling shares, which is what active investors do, BlackRock and these big asset managers buy a little bit of every company and just hold on to those shares basically indefinitely. This is called passive investing, a title that affords them a lot of legal leeway they otherwise wouldn't
bullshit.
They own so much that it would be impossible for them to sell out of any one stock in one fell swoop.
When you think about passive, we can't sell a company as long as they're in the index.
Most of the money asset managers manage comes from institutional investors. Those are big pension funds, insurance companies, nonprofits, and university endowments. But while all the money they manage is in the hands of these big institutions, most of it actually comes from regular people. Public and private pension plans, 401k owners, college tuition, and anyone with insurance. This is your money, but it doesn't always come back to you. Nor do you get a say in the companies it gets invested in. While they want good returns on those investments, contrary to how we think about Wolf of Wall Street type investors, that's not actually their main goal. They make their profits from the fees they charge their clients, not from the returns on the money they invest. I spoke with Benjamin Braun, a professor of political economy at the London School of Economics. He's written a bunch of studies on asset managers' role in our economy and society.
The fees you earn if you're BlackRock increase when the market value of the assets you manage increases. You maximize your assets under management by winning over new clients and by getting the clients that you already have to give you more money.
When you have $10 trillion, you have to put them somewhere, and eventually that somewhere becomes everywhere.
Universal ownership refers to holding shares in the entire universe of firms listed on the stock market. The big three asset managers, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street.
Now you want to talk about
sizable,
fucking
but still
corruption.
relatively small stake in all listed corporations.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it.
So
Base
much
44.
corruption, it's unreal.
3 to 10% shareholder in all of these
Oh,
companies.
yeah.
This may not sound like a lot, but
It
it's
only
enough
gets
that
worse,
selling
Julie.
all of it at once would likely crash that entire stock, kind of locking them into the whole not selling passive thing.
5% in any individual company is actually
The
very
first time I
significant
saw
because
this shit, man, I
if
got
and
crapped
when
myself. I was like, how is
shareholders
this legal?
dispersed, 5% makes you, in all likelihood, the single largest shareholder in that company. That's why, for example, in a lot of academic studies, 5% is taken as a threshold for control. There's almost no difference between Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, and even a bunch of other asset managers in terms of their business model. So then you can start and wonder, okay, so if the big three together hold 25% of the shares in any individual company, then you're definitely above the threshold.
Let's zoom in on Amazon. The big three own 16% of all outstanding Amazon shares. Jeff Bezos only owns 9%.
In theory, universal owners should have an interest in maximizing profits in the long term across the entire economy. And that is not how they operate in practice.
Nope.
The amount of stock you have determines the number of votes you get. BlackRock is almost always in the top 3, maybe 5 if they're feeling broke. So that is a lot of votes. And let's not forget, it's not BlackRock's money that's invested. It's your dad's pension fund and your insurer's massive pile of savings. It sounds crazy, but when you put your money in a pension fund, you sign away your voting rights to the pension fund manager. And then when the pension fund manager puts all their pension funds under an asset manager's control, they sign away all those votes to the asset manager. Kind of pyramid scheme vibes. And how do they actually use those votes? A 2017 study found that asset managers almost always voted with what the company executives recommended. And why are they always voting with company management? Back in the 80s, company managers used to spend company money on company things, like corporate jets, fancy offices, or occasionally paying their employees.
Dude, I
And
want
this
a
made the
jet
investors
that looks
sad
like
because
that.
they wanted those profits. So they started offering company managers, in
Straight
addition
from
to
the
bonuses
fucking
and
90s
benefits,
or the
stock
80s.
options.
Give me that.
Executives' total pay was now forever tied to how much the company made.
They can push managers, corporate managers, to act more in the interest of shareholders, meaning in the interest of corporate profits, and do more to maximize corporate profits.
This funnels money back to investors who now include management and away from any hope of making companies work better or including employees in the profits that their labor created. Back in the day, like my grandparents' day, more regular people had stocks, and the idea was that every shareholder could vote on things like board elections, mergers and acquisitions, executive compensation, and
Crew's
once in a
favorite
while
object.
wages. Sort of like democracy for people with disposable income.
Government is the people's business, and every man, woman, and child becomes a shareholder with the first penny of tax paid.
In 1945, 94% of
How'd that
stocks were
work
owned
out
by
for us?
households. But that's not really how
Not
it
real well, I don't think.
Today, households are more like 40% of the stock market, and about half of that belongs to the top 10%.
Oh, sounds like it worked out real well for the top 10%. Man, fuck you, Ronald Reagan.
Today, the top 1% own 50% of corporate equity and mutual fund shares, while the top 10% own 86%.
Oh my
Did you think
God.
this yellow part was everyone else? Nope. The
Nope.
tiny green
We're
part
the
on the
green
bottom is
part.
the least wealthy half of Americans.
You often
True
hear this
that.
argument that what is good for shareholders is good for everyone because,
I
especially in
think
the
I like
US, where
Dragon's
retirement
acting better.
assets are overwhelmingly
Right.
invested in corporate equities.
He was a
Everyone's
very
shareholder.
good president, in my
But that's
opinion.
simply not true.
But I only
Bottom
know what I
50%
studied. I wasn't
virtually
alive when Reagan was
owns no
president.
shares at all. The vast
And I
majority
was,
of shares
believe it or
are
not.
held by
Yeah.
the top 10%. And within that,
How'd that work out for you?
shareholders are quite concentrated within the top 1%.
And while the strategies corporations choose because asset managers vote for them affect everyone, they only benefit half the population even a little
Now,
bit
now,
and
it's just a
frequently
kid.
hurt the other half.
Were you
Those
alive when
without any
Kennedy
shares
was
at all.
alive?
Take the example of worker pay. BlackRock and other asset managers play a huge part in wage stagnation.
If you're a corporation, you can increase profits only in so many ways. And you can always, in the short term, increase returns to shareholders by squeezing workers.
So this kind of
course.
uber monopolization really hurts working people, consumers, and even small businesses. And this is where it gets interesting. There's evidence that this type of universal ownership is in part responsible for why everything is so expensive these days. For example, they have significant stakes in Nike, Adidas, Lululemon, and Under Armour. If one outperforms the other, it's the same from BlackRock's point of view. And sometimes it can even lose investors' money altogether if companies were to start lowering prices to compete.
That's the universal ownership logic in action, but it's also an anti-competitive logic in action. The fact that all 5 airlines, all the major banks, for example, in the US have the same large shareholders creates a danger and a risk that these corporations will not engage
I don't think that should be
in the
legal.
same way they would if they each had different shareholders. Because in that world, each shareholder would root for their company and would hope to outperform the market by the company they waged a bet on.
It's sort of like a neo-monopoly where companies don't even have to merge and buy each other anymore because they all send profits to the same
That's
guys
what
no
I'm
matter
saying.
what.
So how is that
And their
legal?
large stakes in basically every company affords them friends in high places. From just 2014 to 2015, BlackRock performed over 1,500 private engagements with the companies held in their portfolio.
Jesus.
BlackRock reportedly believes that meetings behind closed doors can go further than votes against management, and they typically give management a year before voting against them. They also have a lot of friends in the government. There's a sort
course
of
they do.
revolving door between BlackRock, the government, and the international bodies that create monetary policy. Things like the US Treasury, Federal Reserve, the central banks of Canada, some European countries, and Sweden, as well as the International Monetary Fund and the World Economic Forum. Since 2004, BlackRock has hired at least 84 former government officials, regulators, and central bankers worldwide.
Intersection of politics and business has never been more ongoing.
Larry Fink himself is on the board of the WEF and even
Yeah,
tried to get
Larry
himself
Fink
selected as
is
Hillary
a piece of
Clinton's
crap.
Treasury Secretary in 2016.
Do you want to know where to
Oh,
invest
did you guys see that? It was
$1,000 right
beautiful, beautiful Hillary
now? Forget
Clinton.
about AI, quantum
Yeah,
computing, electric vehicles.
And in
Look at
2008,
her.
they got themselves a pretty sweet deal.
Traders say this is the craziest day they have ever seen in these
You
markets.
guys just
Veteran
got
traders say
Raputin
they've never
on
seen
stage.
anything like it.
In the aftermath, the government created the Financial Stability Oversight Council to oversee entities like BlackRock that control a lot of money but aren't banks. The FSOC pointed to BlackRock as an organization that's so big that its failure could cause another collapse and tried to put additional oversight on them. But BlackRock doubled their political lobbying spending, including running a super targeted ad campaign on the DC Metro,
What?
and managed to
So
dodge the
illegal.
oversight that other
Yeah.
large financial institutions receive. And let's come back to that loophole they like to call passivity. The people who decide if they're passive enough to continue not to be overseen by the government is BlackRock themselves. Basically, BlackRock and other asset
Oh,
managers
that's-
have to submit
'cause
annual
that's
letters
bullshit,
to
dude.
self-certify that they've been
Yeah.
compliant with the terms of
They
passive
get to,
investment.
they
That's
pass
like
their
being allowed to
own.
write whatever you want on your taxes and then
Yeah.
audit yourself.
What the fuck?
Except if you also had
Fishy.
$10 trillion, which,
How is that
unless you're
legal?
watching this and you're literally
How
Larry
is it
Fink,
legal?
hey bestie,
I know,
I'm gonna safely
right?
assume you don't. The part that really blows my mind is that while this one company already has their eggs in basically every basket and is making money off seemingly everyone, it goes even deeper than that. The biggest investors in BlackRock are Vanguard and State Street. And the biggest
Of course.
investors in Vanguard are BlackRock and State Street. And the biggest investors in State Street are, you
BlackRock.
guessed it, BlackRock and Vanguard.
Yep.
Asset managers are
They
the
run each
shareholders of
other.
asset managers. And this is true
They do
for
run each
all
other.
financial
That's
firms,
a monopoly.
not only, in fact, for stock market listed firms,
That
but
is a
private
monopoly,
equity
right?
firms
That's the
buying up private
definition of a
insurers.
monopoly.
So the financial sector effectively owns itself. The biggest companies that they own own them back, creating this loop that sucks money in and never seems to spit it back out. They play all sides of the game because at a certain point, you can't lose when you play against yourself. So going back to our original questions, does BlackRock own everything? No. But do they control everything? Kinda. They profit off of every bit of your life while controlling just the minimum amount they need to make sure they can continue profiting off of every bit of your life. And they get paid by teachers' retirement funds to do it. And they get away with this by constantly exchanging money for power and utilizing legal loopholes. It's worth being pedantic here for a second. They don't own everything. They own shares in everything, which gives them an outsized amount of control. So while they're not necessarily the ones making all the nitty-gritty decisions in every company, it is their influence and this giant structure of universal ownership that continues to make their pie bigger and ours smaller. It's the ultimate end game of the Investor Management Alliance. Remember the part about how they're responsible for reporting their own passivity to the government? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the FDIC are working to change that and make it so that asset managers that own large chunks of banks like BlackRock are regulated like banks. The asset managers, of course, are not happy, and they are lobbying against this. So regulating them much further is going to prove difficult, and this is a solution to one part of a much larger problem. We no longer have the old system of shareholder democracy. We have something more like a shareholder oligarchy where the people with the most power over where our money and stuff goes are incentivized to make that stuff worse and more expensive and not work for us. But BlackRock didn't create this system. They just used it to their advantage.
Yeah.
And I think we deserve a better one where the people who create the wealth have a say in where it goes. Thanks for watching The Classroom, where controlling the
That
world
was
is important
a
to us.
amazing
Send us
video.
your next favorite conspiracy.
Yeah. Because I've heard of BlackRock, but I haven't been very familiar, so that kind of helped.
One thing, Julie, you need to understand, we got to be careful when we talk about BlackRock. So I was lucky I found that, and that fits perfect for what we're discussing tonight. So that's the only time we can discuss BlackRock.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I've heard of it, but I didn't know the logistics of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard are just one giant entity that own each other, that are basically making money off of all of these unions, specifically teachers unions and teachers pensions and shit. And it's really bad, like, because when they fail, all of those people lose their pensions.
Yeah.
And this is legal, and they basically bet against themselves. So if they fail, the money just goes right back to them, just through a different corporation.
Yeah.
So it's like they didn't lose anything. That's fucked.
Yeah.
"12 years after facilitating the largest national security leak in American history, Edward Snowden remains exiled in Russia, unable to set foot on U.S. soil without losing his freedom."
No, I don't think Mr. Snowden is.
Is a lawbreaker.
He's a traitor.
I hope we can catch him at some point.
I think the proper outcome would be that he would be given a death sentence.
The U.S. government was illegally surveilling its own citizens, and because of Bush, Obama, and Hillary Clinton, we were on track to become an Orwellian police state. Hasn't happened yet, thanks in large part to Edward Snowden, who deserves not only a presidential pardon, but a hero's welcome home. Once upon a time, Trump shared the establishment view, calling Snowden a spy who should be executed.
I think he's a total traitor, and I would deal with him harshly.
Around the end of his first term, however, Trump changed his mind.
Do you want to give Edward Snowden a pardon and bring him back? You once suggested.
Well, I'm going to look at it. I mean, I'm not that aware of the Snowden situation, but I'm going to start looking at it. There are many, many people. It seems to be a split decision. That many people think that
he should be somehow treated differently. And other people think he did very bad things. And I'm going to take a very good look at it.
I think he liked the idea, the kind of flair of it, and wanted to do it. Journalist Glenn Greenwald says that he was personally involved in discussions with the Trump administration about pardoning Snowden. And at one point, Trump was convinced to go through with it.
I engaged in a huge amount of effort in the transition after Trump lost the election in 2020, before he left the White House. And I know for certain that he came very close to pardoning Edward Snowden. But there were a lot of people I know very close to Trump, who Trump trusts, who Trump listened to a lot, who were strongly advocating for that. There were other people, unfortunately, who Trump also trusted, unfortunately, like Mike Pompeo and a few of those sort of Marco Rubio, a few of those sort of like standard Republican militarists who were adamantly opposed to the pardon of Snowden. Now Trump has less to lose by angering the GOP establishment than he did in 2021. For better or for worse, he's already shown a zeal for using the pardon power to settle scores, starting with a blanket pardon of the January 6 rioters. He kept his promise to the Libertarian Party by freeing the founder of the dark web drug market, the Silk Road. By pardoning Snowden, Trump could really give the finger to the DC establishment and, incidentally, do the right thing by sending a message to the world in this moment of creeping global surveillance and censorship. Snowden was right. Snowden says that watching the director of national intelligence lie to the Senate in 2013 was his breaking point, the moment he realized he'd be morally compromised if he didn't risk everything to expose the truth.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
That was a witting, bald-faced lie. There's no saving an intelligence community that believes it can lie to the public and the legislators. Seeing that really meant for me there was no going back.
Mr. Snowden's been charged with 3 felonies. If in fact he believes that what he did was right, then like every American citizen, he can come here, appear before the court with a lawyer and make his case.
But a fair trial was unlikely. Snowden was charged under the 1917 Espionage Act,
You really
which
think
was
they would have
passed
let him
during
live?
World War I and
No,
used
that's why
to
he
quash
was-
anti-war activism, landing socialist presidential candidate Eugene Debs in prison for advocating draft resistance. Under the Espionage Act, the Rosenbergs got the electric chair for selling nuclear secrets to the Soviets. But the law wasn't supposed to apply to whistleblowers exposing government lies, so a judge wouldn't have allowed Snowden to present his rationale for leaking classified information, just as it didn't allow Daniel Ellsberg, who exposed official lies about the Vietnam War, to explain his motivation while on federal trial in 1973.
I wasn't able to say anything about that, or why I felt that it was reasonable to risk my life to get these truths to the American people. Snowden wouldn't have any chance to say any of those things. He couldn't say those to a jury. The prosecutor would say, objection, irrelevant, as in my case. And under the current terms of the Espionage Act, the judge would have to agree. It was never meant to be applied to whistleblowers, as President Obama has now done 7 times.
If Snowden had turned himself in, as Obama advised, he would have faced a show trial. Just look at what happened to Army Private and WikiLeaks source Bradley Manning. He spent 9 months in solitary confinement before standing trial. Manning, who would later identify as Chelsea, ended up serving years in prison before Obama commuted the 35-year sentence.
The United States will always be my home, and I'll always be willing to come back on a single condition, and I've been quite clear about this over the years. This is that the government guarantee that I have the right, and every whistleblower has the right, to tell the jury why they did what they did.
If Snowden had come back without that guarantee, would he have gotten the electric chair like the Rosenbergs?
We've had the traitor Edward Snowden steal that information. He should be brought back from Russia and given due process, and I think the proper outcome would be that he would be given a death sentence for having put friends of mine, friends of yours who serve in the military today, at enormous risk because of the information he stole and then released to foreign powers.
There's no direct evidence that Snowden handed material to foreign powers, nor that any intelligence agents were harmed by the published material, which Snowden filtered through journalists like Greenwald. Investigative journalist Edward Epstein wrote a 2017 book, Impugning Snowden, pointing to data Snowden took from the NSA that had nothing to do with illegal surveillance. He implies that Snowden was no hero, just a disgruntled employee who carelessly jeopardized American security.
He was in the palm of the Russian intelligence service's hands. When they have someone in their palm, they're going to squeeze them.
But Epstein's case has some major holes. He alleged that Snowden likely intended all along to trade classified documents to Putin's intelligence forces in exchange for asylum. But Snowden has convincingly argued that ending up in Russia was never his intention, and that the US government trapped him there by revoking his passport. He was actually seeking refuge in Ecuador, and he had to leave Hong Kong because the local authorities threatened him with arrest.
We were traveling to Quito, Ecuador, via Moscow, via Havana, via Caracas, for a simple reason. It was the only safe route available. There were no direct flights to Quito from Hong Kong, and all of the other connecting flights traveled through US airspace.
I think everyone would agree, probably including the Russian president himself, that he is an authoritarian leader. I think the Russian government broadly does not have a good record on human rights, and that hasn't changed.
So why does the DC establishment hate Snowden? Because he exposed their lies and undermined their power. Snowden proved that Clapper lied in his Senate testimony, and Obama and his inner circle knew about it. The documents he leaked revealed numerous illegal intrusions on the private communications of millions of Americans, though apparently the senators he spoke to that day already knew that, according to Clapper's former head counsel. It wasn't just cell phone records. Snowden also revealed the existence of the secret electronic surveillance program known as PRISM, in which the NSA forced companies like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and Apple to turn over their users' personal information with secret court orders. He revealed how British and American intelligence collaborated to tap fiber optic cables and break encryption for Google and Yahoo customers without the company's knowledge. He revealed that a program called X-Keyscore created digital fingerprints, allowing spies to ID users based on their search patterns and track them, even if they changed usernames or computers. All of this private data was supposed to be stored at a $1.5 billion secret facility in Utah. Collecting a haystack in search of a needle violates the Fourth Amendment's protections against unlawful search and seizure.
Yeah.
But that was the strategy. It was a collect the whole haystack approach, as one insider told the Washington Post. So, the NSA was building the architecture to permanently store the communications of everyone on the internet without the knowledge or consent of the American people. In Snowden's words, the NSA's job was to help create a permanent record on all of us.
A job managing and connecting the flow of intelligence gave way to a job figuring out how to store it forever, which in turn gave way to a job making sure it was universally available and searchable. Engineering a system that would keep a permanent record of everyone's life was a tragic mistake.
That might make catching criminals more convenient, but it also meant violating the privacy of every American and could empower the sort of authoritarian techno-surveillance state that's emerged in China.
We see how these same technologies are being applied to create what they call the social credit system. If any of these family photos, if any of your activities online, if your purchases, if your associations, if your friends are in any way different from what the government or the powers that be of the moment would like them to be, you're no longer able to purchase train tickets. You're no longer able to board an airplane. You may not be able to get a passport. You may not be eligible for a job. You might not be able to work for the government. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms. And those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time.
After the Snowden revelations, a federal judge ruled against the intelligence agencies, writing that bulk collection of Americans' phone records exceeds the scope of what Congress has authorized, and that the sheer volume of information collected by the NSA was staggering. Another court considering the surveillance of conservative activist Larry Klayman determined it likely that the NSA's bulk collection program is indeed an unreasonable search under the Fourth Amendment. That would never have happened if not for Snowden's actions.
This is a metal roof, and this is a metal roof. And you guessed it, this is a metal roof.
Nobody cares about your metal roof.
Yeah. Now, that's been a while since I've heard him, that
About
name
Edward
mentioned.
Snowden. Yeah, they're trying to
Yeah.
get Trump to pardon him. And then the last video for tonight.
A new in-depth profile reveals massive corruption inside Ukraine. That's according to Time magazine, which writes on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. A top Ukrainian presidential advisor has apparently warned that, quote, people are stealing like there's no tomorrow. When asked about bribery and corruption amidst Ukraine's pressure to root out corruption, while it struggles to rally financial support from Western allies following its failed counteroffensive 2 years into the war. According to the article, 59% of Americans do not want Congress to provide more weapons to Ukraine, up from 35% in June. The profile details alleged scandals in Zelensky's circle and says that the president has given strict orders for his staff to, quote, avoid the slightest perception of self-enrichment. Don't buy anything, don't take vacations, just sit at your desk, be quiet, and work, according to one staffer.
The profile also says that Zelensky feels betrayed by his Western allies and that they have left him without the means to win the war, only the means to survive it, according to a longtime member of his team. Another close aide said Zelensky, quote, deludes himself. We're out of options. We're not winning, but try telling him that. I think that quote really points out, Robbie, that you have kind of a delusional leader that was told, you know, you have the support of the West, you're going to win this war, we won't let Russia win. And he still believes that. And he's really leading his population in Ukraine in a war that potentially is unwinnable. They've got a shortage of munitions, but a greater shortage of soldiers. Each side of the war has lost over 100,000 people. That's very significant. And Russia still controls the Russian-speaking population in southern Ukraine. I think really it's sad, but it seems time, as I said earlier in the show, to draw lines in the sand, to figure out a way forward that is peaceful, that makes Russia and Ukraine happy, a way that would lift the sanctions and, you know, end U.S. aid going to Ukraine, which is very unpopular among the American people and unpopular in your opinion as well, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, what is being fought for here? Zelensky makes it sound like it's an existential battle for the country entirely to remain independent, you know, to stop Russia conquering Europe. I mean, if that's what was going on, maybe then our European allies could be bothered, could be roused to contribute to the defense of this nation. Of course, they couldn't. Substantially, it is the U.S. that's been supplying Zelensky with support, with weapons. But they're not, I mean, Russia, frankly, is not, it would be a different story if this were the case, but it's not. Russia's not trying to take over the whole country. It has concerns about regions on its border where there are a lot of Russian-speaking people, and there is a lot of loyalty toward Russia. Really, the question is, ought these people to have some self-determination, either to be part of Russia or to be an independent state on the Russian border? I don't understand what is liberal or Western or democratic about saying, no, this border could not possibly change directions at all. That could never happen. Of course, the U.S. has participated in the redrawing of Europe how many times? Like this is just something that happens. So it doesn't seem worth the thousands and thousands of lives lost, the substantial distraction from a U.S. standpoint, sending all these resources here for what? To overcome the Russian army, to defeat, to overthrow Vladimir Putin. That's not going to happen. That's a fantasy of Joe Biden's, because he's repeatedly said Ukraine's going to get whatever it wants for as long as it wants in order to defeat Vladimir Putin. And in fact, members of the Biden administration spokespeople have suggested that the goal is the fall of Vladimir Putin, an effort that would, I mean, that's fanciful. I mean, maybe there was some chance at some point of that there's some kind of uprising in Russia. Didn't work out. Of course, we saw the anti Vladimir Putin mercenary force try to do that, and what happened? Their leader got blown up in a plane. So let's be clear-eyed about what we're doing in this country, and the corruption. I think it's just important to point out, because so many hawkish neocon people who would have formerly been in the Republican Party, but now are substantially in the Democratic Party. As we pointed out, the Republican Party has had enough of funding for Ukraine. The vast majority of Democratic leaders support it. They'll say that this is important because Ukraine is like this key backstop against tyranny. But Ukraine, Zelensky has suspended opposition political parties, suspended hostile independent media, and the government is incredibly, extremely corrupt. And it was before this war took place. It's government corruption, collusion with business, bribery has been a major problem, particularly in Eastern Europe, for a very long time. So what are we doing? Why are we still doing this?
So, yeah, Ukraine has been like famous for its corruption.
Yeah.
And it's been proven multiple times. It was even on the front of Time magazine, I guess. Crazy. Mm-hmm. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for tonight's show. Is there anything else you all want to add to tonight's episode?
Nope, nothing else I can think of.
All right, well, crew, I think you did a good job tonight. You picked a real episode, and we got into it, and that was some good video links you sent me.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't add any of the ones from TikTok, Julie, because we can't. When I put them on here, we can't talk over them. So
yeah, that's fine. I was just trying to do it for informative information for you. So
yeah, we'll have to. I'm sure crew will want to dive into this some more later on.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He likes getting into the nitty-gritty, dirty stuff in government.
Oh yeah.
Favorite thing to do. Dude, that BlackRock stuff pisses me off.
I know.
Like how they're allowed to basically own 3 companies that bet on each other, so they basically never lose. That's not very fair.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a monopoly.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, guys, I hope y'all had a wonderful night watching us. If you enjoyed the stream, like, share, subscribe, share our content. It helps push us out into the community. And we would really enjoy that. If you want to come check out the merch shop, the link is on the Twitch and Facebook page. The Facebook page is The Robert and Crew Show. Come check us out. Share it with your friends. Thanks. I hope you all have a great night. Much love from The Robert and Crew Show. Peace.
Everybody wants answers, but nobody's asking the right questions. This is going to blow your mind. And maybe make you laugh too. Welcome to The Robert and Crew Show, where we dig up conspiracies, chase UFOs, and turn the weirdest news into wild stories. Join Robert, Crew, and Julie every week for secrets, laughs, and the unexplained. Season 6 is streaming now. Follow us if you dare.